Hey everybody, I'm back. Okay, so I decided to post it here because I'm going to be posting the the 25 books that I actually read, which is actually 31 books, not 25 books. So actually, it might have gone up by one since I did that video. But anyways, I also want to let you guys know that I've done something really dumb. I actually hurt my little toe, which throbs and is remind me that I'm a very bad person. Yeah, it's doing that. It's doing that. Alright, so I got a couple hours before I have to head off to work, and hopefully I will not damage my foot any more than I already have. Um, so everyone knows at this point in the whole thing with like Neil Gaiman and all that that he's basically being dropped by everybody. And I don't want to go into other authors. We're just going to focus on Neil Gaiman because Neil Gaiman's crimes, supposed crimes, um, is disgusting. And I'm not going to talk about those crimes here because I don't want to revolt people. It's like almost 11:30, and I don't want people to throw up whatever they're eating. But we're going to just talk about author veneration or author worship, and it exists in spades. Um, so author worship, which is something I never want. I mean, I want people to enjoy what I put out in this form of books, but I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you're the best author in the universe," and all that stuff that makes me want to scream my lungs out. Um, because there is some kind of price or penalty to having author worship, and the price that people pay for authors worship is literally being let down by the author, literally finding out that their favorite author has done some pretty horrific things, and you're like, I didn't know he was like this. And I'm like, he's a guy. I mean, you don't know nothing about this person. You have no idea, like none. Um, and if it isn't people attacking authors for supposedly being woke, which I don't like that word at all. I like was it oh, I always use the word. I always use the word. Politically correct. Politically correct. Um, and I've had people tell me that politically correct actually is better than saying woke, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I could entertain you for the day. Um, but you literally have people that attack authors because they have put stuff in their books that they don't like. And my personal view is, if the person wants to crash and burn on their own, you don't need to advertise it on YouTube. But the difference between Brandon Sanderson putting LGBT stuff in his books and Neil Gaiman being a full out creep is two galaxies away from each other. You cannot put it in. No, it's not the same, or it's not even remotely in the same universe, or whatever. So, when we talk about author worship, we talk about a phenomenon where people literally venerate and worship the ground this person walks on. And we saw it with like Beatles Mania, but luckily with that, nobody disappointed the fans by doing weird stuff. Um, you have, like I said, it's a. I think the whole Beatles thing is a great example of like worship literally going absolutely insane when someone walks into the room that is extremely famous. And isn't just author worship. This is like movie star worship, where literally you got to have the same clothes that this actor has, or you're stalking this actor who never asked to be stalked. I have never encountered a single actor who says, "Oh yes, I love my privacy being totally invaded," and and I actually having a life outside of my job. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. No, they don't. But authors seem to feed on that kind of energy, and it's one of those just absolutely weird things that goes on in the world. And I have books from various different kinds of authors. But I would never ever think about finding out where they live and going and harassing them. I would never do that. But when you have author worship to the level that Neil Gaiman has or had, I don't know the status of the worship yet. You literally have people that will defend whatever this author does. And that's the bad part about author worship is, you get so big and you get so popular and everything like that. And that's my biggest worry about, me publishing books. Be like, oh, I'm all suddenly, one of my books will suddenly go viral, and everybody's going to want my book, and then everybody's going to start following me and liking whatever the heck I'm doing at this present moment. I do get really concerned about that, and I knew what I was getting into when I decided to become an author. I knew that at some point, I might end up becoming venerated by people. Not something I really want. That's not the purpose of me becoming an author. I did not become an author to be venerated and worshipped like a god. I became an author because I wanted to put my stories out there that I thought were pretty good. And from the people that have borrowed my book off of Kindle Unlimited, you obviously think that my books are pretty good because you're buying them. I'm not, just like with eBay, not as much as I would like them to buy them, but I also understand there are hundreds of thousands of books out there that are self-published and everything. But hopefully, I will get something of a fan base. I actually have a lady who comes in and she's like, "Oh, when are you going to bring out your next book?" And I told her some time ago it was going to be in March, but I'm moving it to May because of the Amazon strike that happened, and also, this week coming up, I will get my Grammarly back for a full year, and I will start editing and proofreading both Murder on the Menu and The Dragon Empress. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Dragon Empress probably a little bit later on because I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to start the second book in the War of the Queens. So yeah, that's the only reason that it's been a little bit delayed in starting editing and proofreading. But yeah, so that's the thing. When you go and you have authors that become so big, it's like, why? Why is this even a thing? Why is this even a thing? But yeah, so sorry, but yeah, so author worship is a problem. It is a problem. And, I'm not against people enjoying other people's works. I'm not against that. I'm just against it when it becomes so prolific and so just uneasy for me. I am totally uneasy with it. Because you are worshiping literally a monster. You're literally worshiping a monster. And it is so disconcerting. It just makes me really shake my head at how this worship culture has gotten as bad as it has. And then you have long dead authors, and I'm going to kind of just a little bit touch on that. You have long dead authors who it comes out that they weren't exactly great people. I know this one fantasy author who's been dead for, I don't know, maybe a couple decades, came out that, she did some pretty messed up stuff when she was alive. And, you go to Barnes & Noble and you see Neil Gaiman's books, and they're, like, everywhere. And I don't think Barnes & Noble is just ready to send them back to the publisher. I think they're just basically going to let them just sell out on their own and all that. But I don't really see people buying them anymore, especially after what happened. So those are going to stay on the shelf forever. And at some point, Barnes & Noble will be like, they're not selling. We're going to send them back. And that will be the end of Neil Gaiman's career. I mean, I really believe Neil Gaiman is done for. I really do. I think that his money train has been derailed. And he's not going to make any more money, and he better start getting used to pinching pennies, because at some point he will go down to $100, down to $50, down to $25, and then he will be dirt poor. And then nobody's going to care about him. Nobody's going to be like, if he goes, oh, I used to be an author, they're going to be like, yeah, right, you used to be an author. Why are you on food stamps, or why are you on some kind of social services if you used to be an author? Where's your millions of dollars? And what's interesting is everyone in my job knows I'm an author. Everyone knows I'm an author. Everyone knows that I am a self-published author that has one fan. But hey, it's the beginning. But yeah. She's always constantly asking me about, what projects am I currently on, and, I tell her, I'm writing this horror book, which, in all honesty, I'm just not going to publish it. I'm not going to publish it because I just have come to the contents that no. That's the big one. That's the big chunky one. The ones that not the novella, but the collection of short stories I will be publishing. I just haven't got around to actually taking them back up. But great thing about short stories is they're self-contained and you don't have to worry about losing your stride. But yeah, so it's something else. It's something else when you deal with this stuff. But yeah, so author worship is a problem. Author worship will always continue to be an issue. I'm not comfortable with author worship because, as I said, it gives authors permission to do some of the most vilest things you could possibly ever begin to imagine. Now, when you're an indie publisher, indie author, and you don't really have a fan base, you kind of know that you have to be very, very careful about your behavior. You have to be very careful about your behavior. You can't just do whatever you want and expect to continue to sell books. But the moment you start getting really big and really popular, then you suddenly are like, oh, I can do whatever I want. Because people love me. People love me. And they love what I do. The most impressive withdrawal is from the Terry Pratchett estate. And Terry Pratchett estate does own a portion of the copyright to Good Omens. So Good Omens was a book that was written by both Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman when Terry Pratchett was alive. It is the only book that is not part of the Discworld series. When it came out that Neil Gaiman did this stuff, even though he hasn't been convicted in a court of law, Terry Pratchett's estate did what I think was the most sensible thing to do. They went and they said, look, if you want to cancel your money that we put in Kickstarter, we will totally understand. Now, if you don't withdraw your money, do they intend to send you the book? Absolutely. I mean, no qualms about, they're going to send you the book. But I really think that a lot of people know that Terry Pratchett also helped write Good Omens, and I don't really think they're going to cancel their their order, because the Pratchett estate actually said that all proceeds are going to the Pratchett estate. It's not, Neil Gaiman is not going to have any money. So he's not going to earn any money off of this. So Terry Pratchett's estate said, we're going to get the royalties, not Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's not going to get his portion of it. Now, how they were able to do this, I don't know, and I commend them wholeheartedly for saying this, that, yeah, we're going to get the money, Neil Gaiman's not going to get nothing. And I think it might have a lot to do with who was the one who created the outline for the book, who you know, how much did Neil Gaiman actually write in the book, and how much is Terry Pratchett's work. So we honestly don't know, but apparently it probably is enough to where Neil Gaiman might not hold copyright. I don't know. Or whatever. Or, you know, Neil Gaiman's publishing house probably said to him, you're on very thin ice, so let Terry Pratchett's estate have all the money. I don't know. I really don't know. But I have no desire to actually get the book, because as much as I'm a Terry Pratchett fan, I'm still reading through Discworld, and I have no desire to pick up another book or whatever. But yeah. So we need to stop venerating and worshiping authors that do behavior that is illegal, like illegal in every country in the world. You know, and elevate authors that have a good moral compass. Alright, so that is my video for today. I'm going to, just like with this one, the next one will not have an introduction, because I'm busy actually reading through Malice, which I'm on chapter 15 right now. Yeah, so I've read this much, and I got this much to go. Yeah. Alright, so I'll see you around.